What's going on, YouTube fam? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Demi'sKicks, and today we will be talking a little bit about calorie deficits, Gymshark products, as well as some tips and tricks on meal ideas and macronutrients. I want to talk about calorie deficit because I have been in a calorie deficit for 6 months now. I started September of last year, and it works. It really does work. But I think the thing about a deficit is that fitness and your diet both have to come into play for it to be successful. If you want to gain muscle, lose body fat, you have to work hand in hand with both of those things. Very important. You can't just do one or the other. I don't think people realize that dieting is so important when it comes to working on your body, because if you're just working out all the time, but then you go home and you eat junk food and your calories are 3,000 plus, I don't think going to the gym is going to make much of a difference. So that's why it's very important to just kind of know where you're at with your diet and what you're eating, what you're just consuming throughout the day and things like that. Maintenance phase, I would be 2,300 calories. Now, it's different for everybody because there are different body weights, heights, things like that. I'll get down to stats for you guys, so you guys kind of get a feel for what I am, and if you're a similar size, and just the facts of the truth behind a deficit and if it actually works and things like that. So I am 5'5", and when I first started in September, I weighed in at 140 pounds. Now that was pretty high for me. That's probably the highest that I've ever been. I carried most of the weight in my stomach and probably my face. So September, cut my calories drastically, cold turkey. I was probably consuming 3,000 calories a day, easily. And the thing is, it's so easy for somebody to consume that many calories a day because you're not counting. You don't know exactly what you're putting in your body. The oils, the butters that you use, the toppings that you put on your food. If you eat out twice a day, if things are full of grease, like I said, easily over 3,000 calories a day. So I started tracking everything. I got a scale, scaled everything out. It's a little bit tough in the start. I was kind of confused on it, honestly, weighing out food, and I'm not gonna lie, it was not easy. It took me a long time, and sometimes I got discouraged because I was like, you know what, I just want to eat my food. By the time I finish weighing it, it's gonna get cold and stuff. But you know, I worked through it, figured it out. After a few weeks of weighing my food, you really start to understand the amount of food that you're consuming and how many calories are in certain portions of food. Because let's take a jar of peanut butter and compare those calories to the powdered peanut butter, like the PB Fit peanut butter. So I first started out my deficit, I was using the jar peanut butter. That's all I had. And mind you, for 2 tablespoons, it was 160 calories. And then that took up a huge portion of my calories for the day. I know it sounds crazy, but 2 tablespoons is not that much, right? Switched over to the PB Fit peanut butter, 2 tablespoons, 60 calories. So it was a huge change. And those simple things that you can do, to switch foods out and just see that calorie difference in certain things. Another thing that I switched out was yogurt. So I switched from the yogurt that I was consuming was 170 calories for 15 grams of protein. It was a Kroger non-fat Greek yogurt, and it was good, but it was pushing me over the edge. I switched over to Icos yogurt. I think it's called Icos yogurt. It was 100 calories and 17 grams of protein. So there's so many things that you could shop for in the store and get less calories, more protein, and I didn't realize that until I was weighing my food out, seeing the portion size and seeing the calorie count and the protein amount. Your carbs, your fats, your proteins, right? So it's really eye-opening. After a few months passed, I got faster at the weighing thing, and it just got easier. I started to eyeball, okay, you know what, 1 cup of rice is this many calories, and 2 tablespoons is that many calories. So it got easier to do. I think some of of the things that set me back. And what's really eye-opening about being in a deficit is when you go out to eat. And that's like all out the door, right? Like there's no way of counting your calories for those things because first of all, you don't know what they're doing in the kitchen. They could be putting in 4 tablespoons of butter in your rice or like so much oil in it. And that's why when I do eat out, I noticed my stomach was hurting because of the amount of grease and the amount of butter that they used in the foods. And that adds up quick. Like you may not think, oh, like this extra tablespoon of butter, it's fine. Like those are the small things that add up to make you not meet your deficit goals. So I think it's just being aware of what you're putting in your food, what you're putting in your body on a regular basis. Some recommendations that I suggest to you guys if you're going to be in a deficit is just your body likes a routine. And so for the past 6 months, I got used to eating literally the same thing every single day. And I was fine with that. Like right now, 6 months in, I'm starting to get tired of it, but I'll do it because I know my end goals. So literally what I did was I broke down, I don't know if you could see this, I broke down all the foods that I consume throughout the day, the calories, the protein, carbs, fat, and fiber that I get from each food and the total, right? So everybody is different. Your body weight, what your how deep your deficit is. So I jumped from a 2,300 calorie to a 1,800 calorie deficit. So that's 500 calorie difference, which is a lot. That could be a whole meal. I would say an average meal could be 500 calories. 500 calories for breakfast, 500 for lunch, 500 for dinner, and then you have your snacks in between. But I picked out foods that would benefit me throughout the day, give me enough protein for the day to hit my goals, the amount of carbs that I needed for my body, the amount of fat that I needed, and fiber, because fiber is very underrated. And I think people need to realize like fiber is just as important as any other macronutrients that you eat, because first of all, fiber helps with fat loss. And not only that, it keeps you full throughout the day. So chia seeds, great source of fiber, kind of a weird texture, but if you put it in like water and just drink it, or if you put it in Greek yogurt and let it like sit, that'll do the trick. So fiber helps you stay fuller longer. It also helps with like digestion. Fun fact for fiber intake. For females, it should be about 25 to 30 grams of fiber a day. And then for males, I think it's 30 to 38 grams of fiber per day. So just for you to keep in mind. Great sources of fiber: beans, lentils, oats, apples, berries, avocados, whole grain bread. I always eat berries with my yogurt in the morning. So like strawberries, raspberries are great sources of fiber. Yeah, like I said, avocados I'll eat. I'm not much of an oatmeal fan, like oats and stuff, but I do eat a lot of broccoli too. So I have a sweet tooth, and that's so difficult to have when you're in a deficit because those calories just put you over the edge, right? So like Dairy Queen closes in 10 minutes. I'm a huge, and I've learned like, okay, a mini Blizzard is 350 to 400 calories. Is that gonna set me over my goal for the day? And yes, every once in a while it's fine, but if you do that like 3 times a week, you're hurting yourself in the end. So there are other alternatives. If you have a sweet tooth as well, I would look into Halo Top. It is a protein and calorie friendly ice cream, and it's not bad. It actually tastes like ice cream. So I do recommend Halo Top. They have it like King Soopers and things like that. I've tried the peanut butter and chocolate Halo Top, and that one is good. Plus I put M&Ms in it, and that one's good. I think for the little, like the pint, it's like 320 calories. So it's good. Plus I'm not eating a whole pint, so I'm like cutting that in half, which is really nice. So basically when you're doing a deficit, this is what I do. And this is what I've noticed the most change. So I did 2 months in my deficit at 1,800 calories. Then I took a month in maintenance phase. Basically what that means is just consuming more calories than your deficit, and that way that your hormones can get balanced out again, and that you're not like stressing yourself out, because you don't want that in the end, because then it's just going to hurt you and you're not going to get good sleep. So that's why they give you that maintenance phase. So then you jump back up to that, for me, 2,300 calories. After that month, 2 more months, I go back into the deficit. And then in 1 month, then I go back to the maintenance phase. So I do 2 months on, 1 month break, 2 months on, 1 month break, and that's kind of just what I've been doing, and I've noticed the most change. So it is currently the beginning of April. I have lost 10 pounds in 6 months. A couple days ago, I noticed that like in the mirror, I was looking more lean, more toned, and for a while I was feeling pretty bloated, and I'm a female, right? That's pretty normal. We have hormones and our cycles and things like that that just can shift our moods, shift our bodies, things like that. And so I woke up and I was like, I feel pretty good this morning. I look pretty good. I feel a little bit lighter. Woke up the next day, felt the same way. And then I weighed myself this morning and I lost 2 pounds, which mind you, it wasn't like, that doesn't happen. That's not normal for me because for a while the scale was stuck, didn't move, but I noticed that I was losing weight in like my clothes, right? So my pants would fall down. I'd have to use a belt, but like the scale didn't change. So what had happened was, they call it the whoosh effect. It's when your body, the fat cells, they start to lose the fat in the cells and they fill up with water in them. And then once there's no more fat in the cell and it's all full of water, then your body no longer holds on to them and they release. So that's why they call it the whoosh effect. But that's what happens. What's the word I'm looking for? Water retention? Is that the word I'm looking for? Let me check. And I didn't know this. Like I came across a TikTok and I was like, oh, that's really interesting. What is this whoosh effect? And yeah, it says the scale suddenly drops one day. Like it's so random. Mind you, it's been 6 months that I've been in the deficit and it barely happened now. So you really have to have patience for these kind of things because it doesn't have a set schedule. It just happens when it happens. So yeah, the fat cell shrinks. It temporarily fills with water instead of disappearing right away. And then once all the fat is gone in the cell, your body lets go of it. You're feeling puffy, bloated, weight staying the same for several days. Yeah, suddenly losing 1 to 3 plus pounds overnight. So it was cool. It was really awesome, actually. I was looking it up too, and I was like getting discouraged for a while because I was like, I don't know when I'm gonna get this whoosh effect. Like it's already been 6 months. I feel like I would have gotten it by now. Another thing that I would say for losing fat, if you want to get toned, more lean, you want to see your muscles and things like that, I would recommend zone 2 training. Now, if you don't know what that is, basically what that means, right? And I have it set up on my watch, but you have 5 zones and it is your heart rates. So in zone 1, that's literally just like walking, going for a walk. Nothing extreme. You do it on a daily basis. Zone 5 is you're running a marathon to the extreme. So zone 2 is a little bit higher than zone 1. You're going for a run, a jog, but you can still talk to somebody next to you and you're not out of breath. So what I did was I set my Apple Watch, tell me when I'm in zone 2, when I do the Stairmaster or when I'm going for a run. That way I keep my heart rate in that zone 2 because your body is going to burn fat compared to if you're doing zone 5, zone 4, even zone 3, your body will switch to burning carbs instead of burning the fat. If your goal is to burn the fat, you have to stay in zone 2. So I've seen videos on it. It's beneficial and it actually works if you stay consistent, right? Do it three times a week, I would say. Walk on the Stairmaster and do zone 2, or go for a jog, do zone 2. You don't have to burn yourself out to burn fat because you're just wasting your energy and you're just burning carbs instead of burning the fat. So if you want to figure out what your zone 2 is, let me show you. Zone 2 is 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. Okay, so this is how you figure it out. So max heart rate is 220. Take that number 220 minus your age. So however old you are, you're going to subtract your age from 220. So once you get that number, okay, it's going to tell you. So like for me, I'll give you an example. 220 minus 25 and 25. Mine is 195 beats per minute. So in order to calculate the zone 2, it's the 60 to 70%. 60% of 195 is 117 beats per minute. 70% of 195 is 137 beats per minute. So that's going to be my range, 117 to 137 beats per minute. And you can look it up on Google. You could just say, what is my zone 2 training, or how to calculate it, and it'll show you. Yes, so brisk walking, light jogging, cycling, rowing. Speaking of rowing, I am training for Hyrox Denver. They're coming to Denver this year. It's gonna be the first time they're coming to Denver. And it's a pretty big deal being that we're the Mile High City. So tickets probably will sell out pretty fast. Being that it's April, tickets won't go on sale until about May or June. I think it's like 6 months prior to Hyrox, and it's not until November. So if you don't know what Hyrox is, it's basically like hybrid training. So you're mixing running with different exercises. So you're doing rowing, you're doing burpees, the skier, push, pull sled, wall balls. So there's 8 different stations, and then in between each station, you're gonna run. It's 1 kilometer, so that's 0.62 miles, like half a mile, basically, a little more than half a mile each time. You can double up with people. You can do it single. They have like males, females, mixed categories. So it's totally like up to you. But like I said, the tickets might sell out pretty fast. But it's gonna be my first Hyrox if I decide to do it in November. But I'm already training. But I'll just say this, that it is pretty intense. And just being able to control like your heart rate and keep a consistent energy level so that you're not burning yourself out, because you could take a break, but like if you're in it for the time, right, you just want to kind of stay in that zone 2 for certain things, and like for your runs maybe jump up to zone 4. So that's what I'm training for. I got these Vomero 18s that I've been training in, and let me tell you, man, they are so comfortable. I kid you not. Like usually shoes you have to break in, these shoes you do not have to break in. Like these, they're just automatically comfortable. They're like walking on clouds. So my deficit, right? So like I said, I started out at 140, and now I've lost 10 pounds, so I'm 130. So that's literally more than a pound a month. I can't do the calculations right now, but is that a pound and a half a month? Let's see, 6 times 1.5. Yeah, so 1.5 pounds a month that I've lost. That's really good. Okay, so let me show you my Gymshark product that I got a few, but so I got these Gymshark shorts. These are the female Gymshark mesh shorts, 5-inch. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm 5'5". Usually like in pants, I'll wear I usually wear men's pants, so 32, but I think like in females it's like a 5 or 6. These are a small. Gymshark runs weird sizes. These are a small, and they fit me very well. They have pockets. I don't want like shorts that go like super low, because then I get a very bad tan line. So these are a small. I've gotten the male mesh shorts extra small, and they fit exactly the same. The only difference is the pockets are a lot bigger, and they have a drawstring, and they're a bit heavier. But like the length and stuff, they go about the same length. So yeah. What I recommend like if you guys have any questions like about being in a deficit, or questions, concerns, anything like that, honestly just reach out to my social medias. I still don't have Instagram right now or Facebook, but you can reach out to my TikTok or through YouTube, and I can get back to you if you have any more questions on it. I love to just like answer any of those, just because I've learned so much throughout the way of doing this deficit. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. As I always say, stay positive. Peace.